out and about hiking on what should be, hopefully, crossing my fingers here, our last really hot day here in Texas. I'm just kind of wondering, you guys have those days or those weeks, or those points of time in your life where you're just really reflective? Maybe it's just the fact that it's been an absolutely long, brutal summer, just oppressively so. Keeps people locked away in their homes a little more than what any of us would prefer. We've definitely been spending a lot of time thinking about, just the state of the world and the state of life, and quite honestly, what's it all for? So if you log into this channel because you're looking for tips, you watch my videos because you're looking for a product review, this probably isn't a video for you. Probably want to turn it off right now. And I wouldn't blame you. Today, honestly, I just kind of want to have a conversation with you guys. I know people hike for a variety of different reasons. We've all got our reasons. Some of us are out here because it's healthy, physically. Some of us are out here just to get from A to B as quickly as we can and crunch out miles. Some of us are out here to check out nature. Some of us out here for the mental health well-being aspect of it. Leaves me wondering, what is it about you guys? I know me personally, it's less about actually hiking, more about being in nature just in general. And I spend a lot of time just out in the woods, whether it be through the survival school or through the hiking aspect of it. Still trying to manage and juggle my family time. Fortunately, I have a wife who understands. For me, therapeutically, it's very good in my head for me to be out and about. Sort of quietens everything down. And that's what's really had me kind of thinking about things lately. What is it about it? I grew up in a very rural area, and as a kid, pretty much spent the bulk of my time stomping and tromping out in the woods. Maybe that's some of it. I've had the fortunate awareness of kind of knowing from an early stage that, when I start getting wound up a little too tightly, if I can get away, have a little quiet personal time like this to myself, it sort of slows my head down, quietens things down, kind of puts things back in perspective. Like I said, therapeutic. I do think from a mental health perspective, the craziness that would be the COVID lockdowns and paranoia really did no one any favors. I think the isolation and the stress of it all really took a toll on a lot of people. Now that I keep hearing rumors of more lockdowns coming and mask mandates and all of that fun stuff, make of it what you will. Does it help? Does it not? I've got my own personal beliefs. I'll leave those out of here. But quite honestly, I don't think any of us would agree that the isolation is good for anyone. It's clearly not healthy. If there was a positive benefit, though, to the COVID lockdown and isolation, I think it is that, quite honestly, there's a lot of people that discovered a love for the outdoors that they didn't know they had. When all of a sudden there was an activity that people could do and be socially distanced and acceptable to go outside and do, a lot of people started doing it, found out they'd been missing out on something they didn't know we were missing out on. That's a good, I suppose, if I'm looking for the silver lining. I'm very blessed to have a family that loves me, that I love back, a wonderful tribe of friends that are more of a family than anything, if that's a word. May have just invented that one. I don't know. Just seems appropriate. Have a good job. Pays most of the bills. Definitely harder now. Inflation and the economy the way it is. Everything gets tighter for everyone. Have a good life all in all. But it doesn't mean people can't get stressed and overwhelmed by the joys of life or the toils of life. We're also focus on the immediate, what's in front of us, that sometimes it's harder to see the big picture. Big picture, sometimes wondering just, hey, what's it all for? Why are we here? Surely the entire meaning of life isn't to, work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, go home, eat a bite, maybe not spend time with families, crash, wash, rinse, and repeat. That can't be what it's all about. So I'd love to hear, what is it that charges your batteries, rejuvenates you to jump up and tackle it again the next day? And also, what is it about being outside? Because quite honestly, if you're on my channel, you probably enjoy hiking or outdoor stuff. So what is it about being out like that keeps you doing it? I think particularly so for guys. We're brought up kind of with the expectation that you're the stiff upper lip, do what needs to be done, kind of plow through life. Not entirely sure how healthy that is for any of us. It's probably why we die a lot younger than the ladies typically. I do know there's one certainty, one epiphany that I've had. Part of the allure for me being out in nature, part of the reason why I think I find it so personally recharging and refilling. I know in the day-to-day with modern technology and all that fun stuff, it's easy for our heads to be busy. When I get out like this, when it's quieter, this is when it's far easier for me to see and hear God and know that there's more to everything than what we can see with our eyes and what we can divine with just our own little intuitions. For me, it usually puts it all in perspective when you can go out and see the wonder and the beauty that He created, whether it's in funky mushroom on the ground or an odd bug that during the day you'd walk right over and not think twice about, or the weird kind of janky tree, or the way the clouds move across a ridge. There's beauty in all of it. And this butterfly that just buzzed me, couldn't get him on camera. He was pretty cool. But all that stuff is just too easy to miss day to day. When you get out like this, I always find it impossible to miss. I think right now there's a lot of people being reflective. If you have not discovered the music of Oliver Anthony, I think he has a lot of people thinking. Even though it's definitely a country sort of bluegrass approach to it. I think it's the first time an unknown artist has ever debuted at the top of Billboard at the #1 position. I think he's got like 6 of the top 25 iTunes songs right now. And it's not a left side of the aisle, right side of the aisle conversation. It's really more kind of taking from a stance of a guy who, quite honestly, is just asking some of the same questions. He's fed up and frustrated with the way the world is today, with all the stresses and strains, and acknowledging at the same time most of these stresses and strains are put on the people by those much higher up in positions of power, that some of which we elect, some of which we put there by purchasing their products, but they all have their hands on levers that they can pull and push and make us do quite often what they want us to do. Sometimes by pitting us against one another. They're really good at creating divide, whether it be race, gender, ethnicity, political spectrum. They can draw lines between class warfare. It's all just in an effort to control what we do, point us in the direction like good little automatons and let us go run and do what they want us to do. Oh, but if you have not discovered his music, I do highly recommend you go out and check that out. Your YouTube feed is probably like mine and is absolutely full of people talking about his music. That's how I found it. So if you haven't discovered him yet, you're probably living under a rock, because he has gone from absolute full-on obscurity to enormously world famous in about 14 days. I'm gonna wrap this up pretty quickly because my dumb ass managed to come out here with one battery for my GoPro, and it was only about 70% charged. Sure for the 2 people that are still logged into this video, you're gonna be really upset that we're cutting it short. Sure, by now I've run off with my rambling musings probably about 99.5% of the people watching this, but that's okay. If you're out on the trail like I am right this minute, just remember, left foot, right foot, repeat. I'll see you out there again next time.